Hey everyone, this week's Monday Vibes theme is open. Being open to change, being open to trying new things, being open to failure, which is inevitable when we try new things. And it really stemmed from this idea of what it takes to quit corporate and become an entrepreneur full time. This is something I get asked all the time, having spent 10 years in corporate prior to totally shifting my career. And the answer to how I was able to financially do this is not so simple. And it's going to be different for everyone. And it's super personal. And so while I have some things to share on the topic, just know that whatever feels right for you is right for you. And that's okay. And what I want to be transparent with is the fact that I have a lot of things working for me that have given me a great security blanket in order to make the leap into the unknown and into an income that is not as steady. And the first is I have an amazing, supportive, working husband. Not everyone has that. And so I recognize that is a privilege. The other is that my parents paid for my education, so I don't have any student loan. And I know that makes me extra privileged. And so I just wanted to be transparent about that because I got really frustrated in the coaching space where people just made it feel like anyone can make the leap into entrepreneurship and that it's a good idea for anyone to make the leap into entrepreneurship. And I don't think that's true. I think there's a time and a place, and people have different comfort levels of what makes them feel safe and secure. And that feeling safe and secure is of the highest importance. And so entrepreneurship isn't going to work so well if you are constantly stressed and anxious. So I just think that I used to have a lot of shame around it. I used to kind of beat around the bush in these conversations with people and not, because I didn't want to seem like a spoiled brat or that I, was in a special position in order to make this work. But the fact of the matter is that I am, and I don't want other women to feel bad about themselves if they are not in a similar position, and to know that it really is a personal choice and has to do with our backgrounds and our financial state and our goals for the future, and there's just a lot there. So I wanted to share that right off the bat. The other factor is I saved a shit ton before I did it. So I was working at a Silicon Valley startup, making over 6 figures, and so I saved for a while, knowing that I would want to make this leap. And then the fourth kind of component is taking a hard look at what you are willing to sacrifice. What are choices that you're making? What are the choices that you're making that either make it harder to be an entrepreneur or more tied to staying in corporate? Because I think a lot of us myself included, get into this poverty mindset feeling like we can't afford to do certain things that will benefit our health, our happiness, our purpose and drive in the world, when really it kind of boils down to what society has told us to value and kind of the life that we've created around that. And so emotional and spiritual wellness is not high on that list. So it's not really prioritized as something that is worth pursuing at the expense of other things you might have to let go. So I think it's really important to have a heart-to-heart with yourself of what you actually are willing to sacrifice in order to gain the freedom or creativity or whatever it is that you're hoping to seek in entrepreneurship or whatever you desire to pursue. And so when Andrew and he's very much involved in this leap that I made because we're a partnership, and that's just what happens in partnerships. So we both had to sacrifice a lot in order to make this work. And in the newsletter, I detailed out a lot of these, so I'm just going to read them here. So here are some of the things that we gave up. We gave out eating out, so we only eat out maybe 1-2 times a month now, a few lunches with friends here or there. We gave up fancy dinners. I couldn't believe how much we used to blow $200 plus on fancy dinners semi-regularly. We don't do that anymore. Bi-weekly manicures, it seems silly, but especially in corporate, I really felt pressured to have nice nails. I was in client-facing positions. Everyone else had nice nails, so I had nice nails, and it just became a part of my routine. So now it's only reserved for special occasions. A yoga studio membership. Now I exclusively practice from home. I love Yoga with Adriene. She's my favorite. Gym membership. So we only go running outside, or we do at-home workouts here. Space. Our apartment is tiny. It's like 300 square feet. And just a note about this is Andrew and I lived with roommates after we got married, like for many, many, many years into adulthood. And that was deliberate so that we could save money. We lived in the Bay Area for 6 years, super expensive. Now we have a place of our own here in New York, but it's also really tiny. And that was a conscious decision so that we freed up money to do other things. So I hear a lot of people's fears around jumping ship from corporate because they have a mortgage to pay or they want to be a homeowner. And just a note about that to just be real with yourself, that's a choice that you make, and it's something that you can change in your life. But we have to be real with ourselves about the choices we're making and what potential other options are out there, even though they might seem unconventional or not as awesome. Like, it's not super awesome to not have a kitchen, and I mean, we have a tiny kitchenette, and to bump into Andrew all the time, and to have the office and the living room and the dining room and the kitchenette all in one space. But it's something that we were okay sacrificing in order to put our money towards something else. Cleaning support. So we used to have someone clean our place back in Berkeley, but now it's not as easy. It's not as hard to do by yourself because we live in a box. Weekend getaways. We used to go up to wine country and wherever all the time, and we don't anymore. We don't spend money on that, and instead we kind of focus on what there is to see in New York. Entertainment. So Andrew's on a gazillion listservs to be aware of all of the amazing free entertainment in New York. So I'd say 90% of the things that we do here are free. Happy hours. So I don't really do that anymore for a lot of reasons. And so I asked people to meet for tea instead. And so it's cheaper and it's healthier and all the good things. Crystals. My apartment is filled with crystals. That used to be a serious line item on the budget, and so now I don't spend as much on that. Retreats. I don't find myself needing an escape as much anymore. Destination bachelorette parties and girls trips. I prefer one-on-one catch-up anyways. Big groups overwhelm me, so I usually decline those. Expensive presents. So looking back, I am shocked at how much money we used to spend on wedding presents. on wedding presents for people we didn't even know that well. And then personal growth workshops is another example. So my friends and I kind of do that for each other informally now that that's my profession and I live in that space. And so when I made the leap to entrepreneurship full time, and I was really worried I'd have to give up, any sort of pleasurable, fun experiences. And I think that's normal, that black and white thinking. But what I've realized is there is so much room in the middle. So there are still things that we continue to budget for that I have decided are important for my health and happiness. So therapy, first and foremost, acupuncture, one big vacation a year, trips to visit family, kombucha, herb supplements, and concerts with our favorite artists. So I know those things seem really frivolous, but it was a big adjustment for us to when we went down to one salary, and as we are just funneling any extra dollars into my business to get it off the ground. So that is another side note. I'm extremely ambitious. I had huge revenue goals for my first year of business, and I was sorely disappointed when I was hit in the face with reality that businesses, startups, whatever you're building, take time to grow, and it takes time for you to grow into them and to really understand what your mission and vision is. That'll change who your target customers are, the platforms that are best for you to communicate your gifts and talents with the world on. Like, all of that changes and shifts, and you fall on your face and you get back up, and just be kind and patient with yourself through that process. So being open to change is so imperative for any leap of faith. And for me, quitting corporate and doing entrepreneurship full time has been extremely confronting. There are very, very low days and days I'm filled with insecurity and just a really bruised ego. But when you're in your element, you're doing your purpose, you're really understanding what your role is in this lifetime and on this planet, you realize that it's all worth it. That some of these sacrifices feel like gut-wrenching at first, but they don't become as important anymore when you're living your dharma. So a few journal prompts for this week are: do you tend to have more of an abundance or poverty mentality? What would you be willing to give up in order to chase after your dreams? And what are you open to gaining by chasing after your dreams? I think that's really important, to focus on what you'll be gaining, because it's not all loss, although all of our minds and everyone around us want to really amplify the negative. But there are so many positives, so many things. There's a reason why you're feeling this pull, or why you've leaped into entrepreneurship in the first place. And so it's important to really ground in that, in what fuels you, what lights you up. And your weekly mantra is, I am open to change. Now, if you want the full digital self-care package and the exclusive tools and resources, make sure to sign up for Monday Vibes. Our weekly newsletter comes out every Monday, and you can do that by going to www.elizabeth.su.com / is that / or back? I think / Monday Vibes. All right. I hope everyone has a great day.